Hi, welcome back, little readers. It is Black History Month, and we are celebrating the exceptional life and fashion of Miss Anne Lowe with Only the Bests by Kate Messner and Margaret E. Powell. Just as Miss Anne Lowe's designs, the illustrations in this book are absolutely vibrant and remarkable, thanks to Erin Robinson. Okay, let's get started. In a stately Alabama mansion, women in bright dresses twirl before a mirror. Their gowns glow like moonlight, glimmering fabrics, and the soft sheen of pearls. Across town, an orchestra begins a waltz. Candles are lit, the music swells, and billowing skirts swish over the dance floor. Here in the garden, outside a tiny dress shop, there are no candles, no music, but quiet laughter and the swish of fabrics drifting out a window. The sweet smell of honeysuckle almost glimmers in the twilight. Anne plucks a blossom and traces the petals. One day she will shape something just as perfect. Inside the shop, Anne's grandmother unrolls yards of taffeta and tulle. Anne's mother measures the fabric against her imagination. A dress begins to take shape. A fitted bodice with puffs in the sleeves? We can gather the skirt like this. Another pin, a stitch, and a trim. While ladies flip through the newest French fashions, Anne gathers scraps from the floor. Bits of midnight velvet and robin's egg satin, scraps of petal-soft silk. Anne snips and tucks, gathers and folds. The fabrics bloom in her hands. They look as real as the blossoms outside. With her mother's steady hand in hers, Anne learns to cut patterns from heavy brown paper. Soon she's made a dress for herself. But if she's to sew for a profession, there's so much more to learn. How to edge seams in delicate lace, how to finish the hem just right. Anne learns vision, precision, attention to detail. Only the best will do. Before long, she's helping with gowns. When Montgomery, Alabama is dressed in garlands and greens, there's sewing to do for the New Year's ball. Countless gowns to be assembled, fitted, and hemmed. But Anne's mother falls ill. She grows sicker, and then Anne is left all alone. No steady hands to guide her, no arms to hold her tight. All that remains is a garden of memories, the craft her mother taught her, and piles of hard work. There's no space for grief in a room filled with unfinished dresses. It's nearly New Year's Eve. The ladies are fretting. Will their gowns be finished on time? Anne folds up her feelings and tucks away her tears. She works day and night the way her mother taught her. Only the best will do. Measure, snip, pin up the hems, thread the needle, pull the stitch tight, embroider the last lovely bloom. The dresses are finished on time. Everything is just right, except the empty room. The next year is long and lonely, but with autumn comes a new opportunity. Anne packs up her sewing bag and boards a train to Florida to sew for a wealthy family whose daughters must have the best. Anne orders French silk in the shadow of palm trees. She gathers and drapes, pins and cuts, and pulls each tiny stitch tight. She measures her work against her mother's sweet memory. Each gown will be custom made, one of a kind. Before long, all of Tampa knows Anne's name. Her gowns sparkle with glass and shimmer with pearls. The silk flowers look as if they might wilt by the end of the night. Extraordinary. Without one of Anne's dresses, a lady might as well stay home. Her gowns are the talk of every ball. But Anne wants to see her creations in fashion magazines. She knows she has more to learn. Within a year, she saves enough money to enroll in a top fashion design course at the S.T. Taylor School in Manhattan. Anne is ready for New York. But New York isn't ready for Anne. It's 1917, and American society is segregated by race. The school has never had a black student. White women refuse to sew beside her. Sharing machines, they work through their lessons. Anne is moved to a room by herself. Behind the closed door, she sits straight and tall. A careful snip, a delicate stitch. A garden bursts into bloom. Anne's silk roses look like they would fool a bee. She hums through her lessons, so talented that other students come to learn from her. She completes the course with honors, best in her class. She's expected nothing less of herself. Now Anne has learned all that she needs to open a shop of her own. She returns to Tampa, making dresses for her old clients. She sews and saves some more until she can open a new shop in her own home. She hires neighborhood women, teaches them her craft, sketching designs, stitching on beads, painting pansies on chiffon. Here's how to ruffle silk into carnations. Here's how to fold tulle into pussy willow buds. But eventually, Tampa feels too small for Anne. She still longs to make dresses for New York's highest society. Anne goes back to Manhattan and opens a little shop of her own. But times are tough. Few people have money for gowns, and business never blooms. Anne searches for work instead. She visits a block with the finest boutiques, but every door is closed. The shop owners can't imagine that a black woman designs the most beautiful dresses in town. But Anne knows that her gowns belong on fancy Madison Avenue. She picks out the most respected dress shop in all of Manhattan and asks for a job. The answer is no. Anne goes home to her Harlem apartment, unrolls a length of chiffon, and measures the silk against her imagination. She sews a gown, her very best work, with a skirt that swishes and swirls. She snips and tucks and gathers and hems. She pulls each tiny stitch tight. Then she marches back to the store and offers to work for free until she's proved her worth. The shopkeeper puts Anne's dress in the window, and it sells that very same day. Anne has the job. In the back room, she orders rolls of gleaming satin, yards of the sheerest tulle. She stitches pink roses to embellish the hem. Their petals are soft as dew. She hand paints flowers down the length of a skirt. Only the best is what she'll offer the millionaires and movie stars who come to this shop. But Anne's name is missing from the dress labels. Her employers take all the credit. Still, customers seek her out. No one's work is as perfect as Anne's. So when one of the most dazzling families has a wedding to plan, Anne is the only choice. This is the wedding of the year. The handsome young senator, John F. Kennedy, is engaged to marry Jacqueline Bouvier. The bride and her bridesmaids need gowns, and Anne will design them all. There are weeks of meeting and sketching, designing and draping. So many dresses to make. 2 months to the wedding, the fabric arrives. There are hundreds of yards of creamy French taffeta to fold and turn and sew. Only the best will do. 1 month to go. The bride's final fitting. Tuck a bit here and stitch a bit there. Does she love it? Is she happy? Will the dresses be ready in time? A week to the wedding. Just a few small jobs left. The candy pink sashes and white satin caps. Anne arrives early and unlocks the door, eager to put the finishing touches on the wedding party's gowns. No! A leak from the ceiling has flooded the workroom. Dirty water stains the skirts, and color bleeds from the sashes. Weeks of work wasted. So many gowns ruined. How can the wedding go on? With just days left, repairs feel impossible. But Anne gathers her weeping seamstresses. We've got to stop all this crying and get this place cleaned up. There's no space for tears in a room full of unfinished dresses. Anne has promised to deliver the best of the best. She has worked under deadline before, and this time she's not alone. Order more taffeta. Quickly now, quickly. Restitch this bodice. Replace the stained skirt. Everyone sews day and night and all week long. Will the dresses be finished on time? Yes, they dazzle. They glimmer. They're all that she hoped. And Anne won't let them out of her sight. Normally, her assistant would take the gowns to the bride, but Anne wants to meet the senator. She'll make this delivery herself. These gowns are stunning, the best of the best, fit for a queen and her court. Anne steps up to the mansion door with pride. She knocks. A butler answers. Use the back door, he says, as if she's just a servant. The back door? Anne has measured and snipped and pinned and cut, pulling each tiny stitch tight. She is one of the most talented designers in all of New York. She is not just anything. The back door? No, no. Anne stands up tall and says, "Then, would you please tell the senator and Miss Bouvier that there will be no wedding today? Because I'm taking the dresses back with me." The butler steps aside and walks in with the dresses, and the fairy tale wedding begins. Her gowns swirl and twirl all night long. Anne is there too, watching them shine, but she doesn't rest for long. There are more dresses to design. Now Anne works in a new salon on Madison Avenue. She keeps a book of clients' sizes, heights, and necklines and waists, but measures her own work against the gowns in her dreams. Fabric the color of new leaves in April, skirts that flare out like upside-down blossoms. Only the best will do. One more touch, add the flowers. With a roll of the fingertips, silk curves into perfect petals. Now a cascade of rose blossoms will gleam in the light as this skirt swishes over the floor. And the name on the label is the name over the door. Anne Lowe. The end. Thank you so much for listening and reading with us. We wanted to honor Miss Anne Lowe for her wonderful and extraordinary contribution to the culture and to fashion. We respect you and pay homage. As always, be kind and keep reading. We love you so much. Happy Black History Month.